Neverend is a novel on the topic of war. I've written it in 2017, before war was everywhere around us again in Europe. It's mostly about ex-Yugoslav wars, but on the other hand also allegory of any war, or at least the attempt of it. It has three layers. There is a war before a war, the war itself, and the war after the war. Poetics of space is a long-lasting fascination of mine. Not only Bachelor's book, Poetic of Space, but there is an ethic attached to every description of space and the people and the stories, of course, that are grounded in specific spaces. We are trying to embark on a journey from very small observations of different ways how we communicate with the world around us, with objects, people, how we address them and how they address us in literature, towards writing in real time in public spaces, taking photographs as well, and seeing the interaction between visualization, photographic visualization, and a writing process, a flow that has to be enabled and that has to be trusted also in very different circumstances. And it's quite a big challenge, although it can sound simple. We live from stories. We cannot survive as a species without stories. As much as we are made out of molecules, elements, we are made out of imagination. It's the way we pass on knowledge and experiences, but it's also through stories that we encounter each other and the other and the unknown. So stories are an elemental part of us as human beings. They're really fundamental elements of how we construct reality and society around us. Empathy is always a failed attempt to understand the other. It's very hard to talk about total empathy. But when we try as hard as we can to understand the other, to go under the skin of the other, to see with the eyes of the other, we're entering a different way of being in the world. It's an elementary force or ability of the human being to communicate with the other. Now, different ways of training of empathy are being replaced by technological means, we know. And this leads us to a society which is very much self-centered, alienated, and much proner to manipulations. Empathy is the only real weapon we have. But it's only on a voluntary basis that we can enable this weapon to fight back the challenges we face today in a society which seems to go through different kinds of crises, and in times where individuals are meaning less and less in terms of possible changes that are occurring around us. We need empathy to survive.